Hello, everybody. Welcome to Premier League predictions round 14 and 15. It's bloody Amazon week, Mikey, and we figured the only way to probably get round the fixtures being split over Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. When the hell do you do the next show? Let's just do them all on Monday. So we're going to try and move fairly quickly, ladies and gentlemen, through the entirety of round 14, which takes place in the Premier League on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then round 15, which I don't know if there's any Friday night games, but certainly goes up to Monday, is wall-to-wall Premier League football. And Mikey is sitting there quite smugly because he knows what I'm about to say, which is not only did he beat me in round 13, but we had the unicorn, we had the bonus point coming. Well done, Mikey, who called Brentford 4, Leicester 1, always a bonus point for 5 goals or more. And Palace Newcastle with a 94th minute equaliser. I'll give it to you, mate. No bob-ons for me. Mikey 9, Ben 5 this past week, which means you're 8-5 up on the week-to-week and 81 up in the aggregate. Welcome. Congratulations on the bonus point. And are you ready for 20 fixtures all in one?
Yeah, thanks for that, Ben. Yeah, it was a good weekend for me with the predictions, and also I got 95 points in FPL as well. So yeah,
Boom.
out of nowhere, a lot of luck. But yeah, I worry, Ben, if we do better in match week 15 than we do in match week 14, then it says a lot about the research that we do for this.
Research? What's that then? Yeah. So we are going to try and do round 15 as well, not knowing what on earth has happened in round 14. So we will try our best. We love you to play along, but guys, genuinely do feel free if you want to put the round 15 predictions in after round 14 has happened on Friday, then please do go for it. But I'm afraid in our world, there just isn't the time to fit in 2 recordings, 2 edits, and 2 videos. Are you ready, Mikey?
Yeah, let's do it.
Curveball of all curveballs. Game number 1 is Ipswich Town this week as well. Away you go for Ipswich versus Crystal Palace on Tuesday.
Yeah, a very big game for both of these clubs, and also a very big game in this household. My wife, as some of you are aware, is a Crystal Palace season ticket holder. She had a ticket in the away end for this game, but then we decided, being 8.5 months pregnant, probably away end probably wasn't the best thing. And the A12 definitely not the best thing for a pregnant woman. She's predicting that Palace are going to win this one 3-1. But I'm going to go for Ipswich 2, Crystal Palace 1. Ipswich missing Tuanzebe, but I think Portman Road under the lights will have enough for this one.
I've got an irritating feeling that what happened at Selhurst Park at the weekend may happen also at Portman Road tomorrow night as we're recording. I think Palace might get a late equaliser in this one, which makes me kind of cringe even thinking about it. So I'm going to put Ipswich 1, Palace 1. Predictions down in the comments, by the way. You know the scores. We don't need to go over all of that stuff by now. Leicester versus West Ham. And this is Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester now, Mikey. Congratulations. Bob on Leicester getting hammered 4-1. What are they going to do against West Ham? I don't know. I think there's going to be some sense of some new ideas. They don't match up well against West Ham, in my opinion. So I'm going to go for the away win here. I'm going to say Leicester 0, West Ham 1.
Yeah, and West Ham seem to be slightly better away from home at the moment. They're scoring goals all of a sudden. I called defeats for both of these sides at the weekend, didn't I? And both of them are called correctly. One of them spot on, as you say. I think Yilin Lopetegui's on. I think he might just be on borrowed time here at West Ham, but I'm backing him to lead West Ham to a 2-2 draw at Leicester.
Right, are you keeping up, everybody? We're moving to Wednesday night, the 4th of December in the space-time continuum, and another massive game at the bottom of the table. It's going to be a public apology to Bournemouth later in the show because we both thought they'd beat Wolves. We both thought Wolves would beat Bournemouth the other way round. Everton versus Wolves, Mikey, and you're up first. Ouch.
Yeah, well, Everton really need a win, don't they? To put it mildly. Little bit of pressure mounting on Sean Dyche. I think the Goodison crowd's going to be restless in this one unless they can get on top early. I think it's going to be a frustrating night, but they will get the goal that's eluded them in the last few games. But I can't see them getting the win. I'm going for Everton 1, Wolves 1.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because Wolves are very good
They
going one
score
way
loads. Yeah.
and not the other. And Everton
Yeah.
are the exact opposites. I
Yeah.
don't know what that means. 1-1's probably a fair shout. Mikey, you know what I do in times like these? I tend to back Everton when the chips are down at home to win. But I've
Yeah.
got to back Wolves to score because not just Cunha, Larson got 2 at the weekend as well. They're just very good going forward. It can't be 3-2, can it? So I'll have to go 2-1. It's the only thing I'm left with. Everton 2, Wolves 1, a big win for the Toffees. Right, here we go. Man City versus Forest. Do either of us dare call the 1-0 away win for Forest here? Because Man City suck at the moment. I know they've been brilliant for years and they've got lots of amazing players and manager and all of that. I don't need to say that, do I? Forest forested Ipswich quite efficiently at the weekend. Do I dare go all in on the away win? I can't. But I'm going to give Forest a goal and a point. Man City 1, Forest 1.
Blimey, yeah. This can't go on, surely. I'm
Oh,
backing
go on.
Manchester City I'm backing Man City to win this one, Ben. I'm sorry. Forest, given their credit, they were very solid against Ipswich, as we feared they would be. Nullified Liam Delap pretty successfully. But yeah, going to Man City, I just feel like Erling Haaland's going to get. He's got to start scoring again at some point, and Man City are going to get the rub of the green in one of these games coming up. So I'm going for them to win this one 3-1.
Chris Wood goal?
No. I'm going to go no goal for Chris Wood.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I didn't even give you a prediction there, did I?
No, it's going to be like Hudson Odoi with the curler or Gibbs White with the dribbler. Let's move on to Newcastle versus Liverpool. Normally, we talk about 90s football for about 5 minutes here, but we haven't got time to do that today, Mikey.
Yeah, we don't have time for that. Newcastle just so inconsistent, aren't they? And they've had injury problems for sure. But I just feel like they're underachieving slightly. Liverpool certainly not inconsistent. They've had a few injuries cropping up, but they're still just ploughing on, and they looked really good for their 2-0 win against Manchester City. But I'm going to go against the grain a little bit here. I'm not bold enough to predict a Newcastle win, but I think these big game atmospheres at St James's Park can be difficult for teams at the top. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw here. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 1.
I will walk through that open door and take the away win then, obviously. Could be a tight one, but if Liverpool are going to win this title due to an amazing first half. Did you remember Arsenal scored like 50 points in the first half of the season or something, didn't they? And didn't win the title. I think Liverpool might do the same and then give themselves the headroom to win the title. So I'll go for a nice tight Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1, which moves us on to Southampton versus Chelsea, who are not my guilty pleasure anymore. They're just my pleasure. Southampton unlucky again with another VAR that took 5 minutes. This stinks of both teams to score, doesn't it? So I'm going to play for the bonus point here. I'm going to steal one of your ideas here, Mikey, the 4-1. I'm going to take it. Southampton 1, Chelsea 1, Palmer and Cuckoo, Jackson, Madueke, any of them. Goals.
Yeah, I've got this exact same school of thought, Ben, which is why this is a scribble for me. So I'm going to add on a Southampton goal here and go for Southampton 2, Chelsea 4. Yeah, you can. This game looks like it should be chaos, right? And one that suits Chelsea going forward, but Southampton might find a few spaces of their own.
Agreed. And God, it's a good Newcastle, Liverpool, and Arsenal, Man United on the same night. How about that?
Yeah, and the Amazon are quite smart, and they stagger these games, so you get to watch big parts of both of them, don't they? And I imagine most neutrals will be flicking between these two games. But yeah, Arsenal back in business. We asked if are they back? Aren't they back? But with Martin Odegaard back in that team, Bukayo Saka is just a much better player. United already showing signs of improvement. It's got to be said under Amorim. That was their best performance under him against Everton, and he's even got a tune out of Xerxes. It'll be interesting to see if Xerxes gets the nod against Arsenal, though I'd say it's probably unlikely. This is a difficult one to call, and I imagine this might be a scribble for you because I'm going for Arsenal 2, Manchester United 1.
I had 2-0 down because I've got this idea that this season with Amorim, when they come up against a properly really good coach team, I think they're going to improve Man United. I think they'll still get well beaten. Do you know what I mean? To
Okay.
nil or by 2 goals. So I think they're going to trend up. But I totally agree with you that the Arsenal winning streak probably through Christmas now is underway, isn't it? And they scored 4 or 5 in the first half, didn't they? At
Yeah.
West Ham. So I'll take a 2-0. And I'll move on to Aston Villa, who are really stinking the place out, very surprisingly, against Brentford. I've been very high on Aston Villa since we've been doing this show, Mikey. Brentford, very, very good this season. Skew better at home. We always say that, don't we? So
Yeah.
I will give Villa the bounce back win. And by God, do they need it? Maybe I think there might be a few players went from Brentford across to Villa over time with Dean Smith migrating across that way. But I'm sure one of them in particular, our England striker, Mr. Watkins, will fancy a goal in this one, won't he? Let's go Villa 1, Brentford 0.
Okay, yeah, a similar school of thought from me as well, Ben. I'm going for Aston Villa 2, Brentford 0. This is 5 games winless for Aston Villa, which is joint worst run in the league at the moment. They had a really poor November, and it just looks like the Champions League stuff is catching up with them. And they were poor at Chelsea, and Emiliano Martinez, their star player, really, the goalkeeper's potentially missing for this game against Brentford. But I am going to go for Villa to bounce back and win this one 2-0.
And you are up next. And we are now on Thursday, the 5th of December, with Fulham versus Brighton.
Yeah, I lack confidence when I go for Fulham and Brighton, to be honest. They're 2 teams that I've called wrong a lot this season. I think I've underrated Brighton. I expected them to struggle to begin with, and they definitely didn't. And then when they started winning, when they did start to drop a few more points, I was calling them wrong then as well. So I'm going for a draw in this game. I think this will be a really good watch. Fulham were really good again at Tottenham and deserved a point. I'm going to back them to get another draw here. Fulham 2, Brighton 2.
Annoyingly, guess what? I had 2-2 down. So I may as well play for the bonus point if I assume that there's going to be a draw. And I will take a 3-3 draw. We had one of them this season. We must have somewhere, haven't we? We'll get one. We'll get one at one point. Fulham 3, Brighton 3. And to round out the first round of fixtures is Bournemouth Spurs. And look, I'm an Ipswich fan. I've got to say, if I was a Bournemouth fan here, I'd be pretty annoyed at playing at 8:15 on a Thursday night with my opponent playing at 7:30 on the Tuesday night. But it is what it is. And fixtures is fixtures. And public apology due to Bournemouth. Great win, hat-trick for hat-trick Cliver. I'm sure someone had that headline somewhere, didn't they? This smells of goals as well, Mikey, doesn't it? I think I'm going to back Spurs with both teams to score here. Bournemouth 1, Spurs 3.
Okay. I'm going for Bournemouth 2, Tottenham 1 to really ram home the apology to Bournemouth fans. I've just found this is another team that I've found really, really hard to predict under Iraola. They're brilliant one week and then a little bit underwhelming the next. They've got Semenyo back for this one. They've got goal power. They've definitely got that. And Tottenham just another team that's really difficult to predict, and they're lacking pace at the back at the moment as well. So definitely somewhere that Bournemouth can exploit. So yeah, back in the Cherries for a win this week.
Right, guys, feel free to hit pause on this YouTube video here right now, and then you can maybe pick it up later in the week or roll right through with us because we are now going to look at round 15. So we've covered round 14, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going all the way through, bit of a wild card. So we're now into round 15, which kicks off on Saturday at 12:30. And I'm contractually obliged to say this is the last ever Merseyside derby at Goodison Park between Everton and Liverpool.
Yeah, it's a difficult week for Liverpool. If they can get through these 2 games with 6 points, I think surely they're going to be
Real
really
Madrid
fancying
and
themselves.
Man City the previous week as well.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, and 2 wins out of 2 so far. Obviously, I'll back them to drop points at Newcastle, but I'm going to go for them to win this final Merseyside derby at Goodison. It's going to be an absolute bear pit, but I think Liverpool have got enough about them to just control this game. They just need to take the chances when they come along. So I'm going Everton 1, Liverpool 2.
I think they'll wheel out Ian Rush, who scored. He still managed to score now in this game. Just every single time he played Everton, he scored, didn't he? Even for Newcastle when he was 37 or something, didn't he? I'm toying with the idea of a draw, that Everton might get something just by virtue of what you said about how hard Liverpool's fixtures have been and how knackered they're going to be. But they do tend to win these, don't they, Liverpool?
Yeah. They didn't last year, though, Ben. Everton
Okay.
won this fixture last season when Liverpool were going for the title, and that pretty much end their title hopes last season. So Everton have got it in them.
No, they haven't. I'm going to back Liverpool. So Everton don't score many. Liverpool are really good. That smells like a 1-0 away win, yeah? So what I'm going to do, Everton 0, Liverpool 1, which brings us on to Aston Villa versus Southampton. And I've predicted a Villa win and a Southampton defeat in midweek. I'm probably going to go both teams to score and a home win here. I think Southampton will be in this one, but Villa will win it. So I'll go back-to-back Villa wins. They're at home twice. That's pretty helpful, isn't it? Villa 2, Saints 1.
Yeah, I think Villa will definitely see this week. If Liverpool are looking at that week and saying, this is one that we just got to get through, and if we can get 4 points, then that's good for us. I think Aston Villa have got to be looking at 6 points from the 2 home games against Brentford and Southampton. A really good opportunity to reignite their season here. Shock results do happen, but I don't think one will happen here. I'm going for Aston Villa 2, Southampton 0.
Brentford versus Newcastle.
Yeah, hard to go against a home win for Brentford, but after Villa away, it won't be easy for them against Newcastle. For Newcastle, I worry a little bit about Alexander Isak when there's all of the games mounting up. He seems to pick up little minor injuries. He was on the bench against Crystal Palace, which I guess was possibly protecting him with this double game week in mind. I think there's going to be goals, as there always is at the G-Tech. I'm not going to back Brentford to win. I'm going to back Newcastle to get another draw. So I'm going for 2-2 here. So that'd be 3 draws in a row, I think, for Newcastle.
Yeah, so I back Newcastle to lose to Liverpool and I back Brentford to lose at Villa. I think I like the draw as well, but you've taken the nice 2-2 because of all the goals always at Brentford. I think I might have to settle on a 1-1 for this and Newcastle to do what not many people do and keep Brentford under 1.5 goals. So Brentford 1, Newcastle 1. Right, Palace versus Man City is the one where I'm back on Man City winning. I figure maybe I've just got a vested interest in Crystal Palace having not many points this week. I think I'm going to take a 3-1 Man City. I'll take Palace to score, but that's going to be the first Man City win in the longest time. So yeah, Palace 1, Man City 3.
I'm going to go for Palace to get a point here. Bounce back from their disappointing defeat at Portman Road. I know this is probably one that Man City have won over and over and over again, but I don't know. It just feels like it could be slightly awkward for them at Selhurst Park. Still no Kovacic back for Manchester City. So if you're looking for players to come back in to make things a little bit easier, yeah, the position that they're struggling in centre midfield is going to just continue to be an issue here. But yeah, I'm going to go for Palace 1, Man City 1.
Man United versus Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, double Manchester header for Forest, and they're a dangerous away side, as we always say. So good playing on the counter attack, and it feels ridiculous here. Like Forest have had such a good season, it feels silly that I'm going to go for them to lose 2 games in a row after they've impressively beaten the team that I support. But I don't know. Are Manchester United the real deal? I'm not sure yet. The jury's still out. Obviously, this is an ongoing thing. Like they don't need to be back being brilliant. They just need to be improving and bedding in. But I'm backing them at Old Trafford. Thought they were impressive against Everton. I'm going to back them to narrowly win this game 2-1.
I think I'm going to take another draw on Forest, and I'm looking down an entire page of predictions there, Mikey, with no nil effing nils on them. And I figure that might be a good way for Forest to get out of Dodge, get out of Manchester with 2 trips there and 2 draws. So I will play our first 0-0, Man United 0, Forest 0. Right, if you're still keeping up, you're doing really, really well because we're now on to Sunday the 8th of December, and we're on the back end of round 15. It's Fulham versus Arsenal, which is a lovely old fixture, which feels both teams to score and an Arsenal win, doesn't it? So I'll take Fulham 1, Arsenal 3.
Okay, that's a scribble for me. I will change mine to Fulham 1, Arsenal 2. I also expect Fulham to score, but Arsenal, they're really purring at the moment, aren't they? But just a little shout out for Fulham, like a great result for them at Spurs, back in business there. They've got a lot of players playing against their former club here, a few with a point to prove. Iwobi, Smith Rowe, Reece Nelson. Although Nelson, I think he's possibly on loan, so maybe he won't be playing. But yeah, I'm going for Arsenal to win this one narrowly, 2-1.
Yeah, you got Ipswich first again. Ipswich versus Bournemouth.
Yeah, and of course, Ipswich are on a real high, Ben, having picked up that important first Portman Road win against Crystal Palace. And shock horror, Ben, I'm going for Ipswich to win this one as well. I'm going for a narrow 1-0, maybe a late goal. Bournemouth, they're a good side. I won't be shocked if Bournemouth comes to Portman Road and lose. But as you've mentioned, they don't have that same recovery time. Ipswich have basically got an extra 48 hours on them, even more than 48 hours, technically, of recovery time. So, yeah, I could see Ipswich scoring a late winner here. And at this point, I think if you just put my predictions over the season, Ipswich are back in the Champions League places.
Unbelievable scenes. What do I do here? So I had Ipswich drawing against Palace. I'm going to go for a Bournemouth win, and I hate myself for doing it. I think both teams score and Bournemouth win. Maybe Bournemouth get 3-1 up and it ends 3-2. My bonus point will not console me in the slightest if Ipswich do lose 3-2 at home to Bournemouth. But something tells me, hope I'm wrong. Don't get cross with me, Ipswich fans, in the comments. I'll be the happiest man in predictions land if Ipswich do get the win. But I'm going to go for a Bournemouth win. Ipswich 2, Bournemouth 3. There's your public apology, Bournemouth fans. And it's Leicester versus Brighton. I said that Brighton do mad things, but they tend to do it at home. And I did actually call that draw against Southampton, didn't I? Will they be as mad as to go and lose at Leicester? No. That means I've got Leicester losing twice in a week. No, I can't do it. I can't do it to the Leicester fans. Leicester 1, Brighton 1.
Okay. Yeah, Ruud van
all over the
Nistelrooy,
map.
He'll have had a bit of time between games here and getting his ideas
Unlike
across.
us.
Yeah. And when we saw him at Manchester United, he did improve them in a pretty short space of time, Van Nistelrooy. So I think Leicester fans will be going to this game against Brighton, looking forward to it and expecting to get their first points on the board under Van Nistelrooy. But Brighton, they're a side I rarely get right, as I've said. And I'm sorry, Leicester fans. But actually, no, it's good news for Leicester fans because I always get Brighton wrong. I'm going for a narrow 2-1 Brighton win.
Perfect. Tottenham versus Chelsea, which is the last game on Sunday, the 8th of December.
Yes, and this game was absolute chaos about a year ago, wasn't it? When Spurs were absolutely flying at the top of the league, and then they got loads of players sent off. I think they were down to 9 men and still were trying to defend from the halfway line.
Brilliant.
Jackson couldn't hit a barn door, but still managed to score a hat-trick in that game. But now he's really firing, and I think that this game could spell trouble for Tottenham. Definitely going to try and tune into this one. I'm going for Tottenham 2, Chelsea 3. Not much pace at the back, as I mentioned, for Spurs, unless they can get Van der Ven or Romero back in this side. And if they do this, and my Liverpool prediction was right, I think Chelsea might find themselves in the title race.
So last week, I went for peak Spurs to lose against Fulham, having battered Man City. I'm going to try the same tactic because everyone thinks Chelsea is going to beat Spurs because Chelsea are really great at the moment. It would be peak Spurs to beat Chelsea, wouldn't it?
It would.
So I'm going to back Spurs. And
okay.
Chelsea are obviously going to score, aren't they?
Yeah.
So actually, I could do a flip, couldn't I? You've gone 3-2 Chelsea. I will go 3-2 Spurs. Probably be miles off as Chelsea cruising 4-0 winners in in this one. But yeah, I'm going to back Spurs for just Spursy. And we're going to finish up. Can't believe we've got there, Mikey. So this is Monday night, the 9th of December. We've done an entire week of football here of 20 games. It's West Ham versus Wolves in the Craig Dawson derby.
It's exactly what I've got written down here.
Of course you have, yeah. It feels like the only way West Ham beat Wolves is they keep a clean sheet, which they're absolutely not going to do. So I'm going to have a Desmond. And if Amazon are still doing all the games, then they're going to have a lovely one to finish it out. There might be Sky again at that point. I don't know. I don't care. My brain hurts from doing 20 fixtures.
Yeah, it is Sky, Ben.
Thank you, Mikey. West Ham 2, Wolves 2 live on Sky TV.
Yeah. I'm not going to do an apology to Sky, but I'm going for 0-0 in this one because I hadn't predicted a 0-0 across the 20 games. A bit of tiness in this game. I think West Ham will be a little bit cagey, just desperately trying to avoid defeat and obviously being a little bit scared of what Wolves have got to offer at the sharp end. They can't score 2 or 3 goals every game, can they, Wolves? Surely not. Obviously, Ballon Dawson playing against his old club, as we mentioned. In fact, that is what West Ham fans called him, apparently, Ben. And obviously, it's Gary O'Neill against his old club as well. So a big one for him. Yeah, I could see this
for the second week running because they had Bournemouth, didn't they?
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, interesting week for Gary O'Neill, and I think that week is going to end listening to the familiar sound of boos around the London Stadium after a 0-0.
Oh my God, I feel exhausted after all of that. We've done it. We've got through 20 fixtures. If you're feeling really brave and bold, do all 20 in the comments. You really don't have to. You can split it in half and do 10 and 10. I hope you understand with Mikey and my schedules and the fact that the matches went through to Thursday. We thought that this was the best course of action. We hope you liked it. But the good news is, Mikey, if you didn't like it, we'll be back to normal next week. Well, maybe for 1 week, because then it's bloody Christmas after that. We might have to do the same thing all over again. But we do hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back to normal. It'll be next Wednesday, essentially, the next round of fixtures. We'll record it on Tuesday. But just the 10 games. Good luck. Get in the comments, and we'll see you for the next one.